Welcome here to a very special edition of Dolphin Dive exclusive to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne College. I'm very happy to be sitting here once again with the president of LeMoyne College, Dr. LeMura. Linda, how are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. I love the smiles. Oh, you didn't get to see it on the screen, but the big, giant family warm hugs. I always appreciate those.
Well, you know, that's the essence of being on this campus. It's all about welcoming people and having a sense of community and a sense of joy about living and learning together.
And since the last time we've spoken, there's a few things that have happened, just a couple.
Yeah.
And so it's been an adventurous non-off season, so to speak. When the students left, you've been very busy with this reclassification, realignment, look to see, do you stay Division II? I know that Bob and I talked about, you know, there was the look at Division III, look at Division II, look at Division I. How have you as the president handled this very adventurous time for LeMoyne?
I love the use of the word adventurous because that captures the essence of what we're doing here. I mean, we are exploring the unknown. Mm-hmm. We know what we have right now, currently, you know, with our affiliation in a good Division II league, the NE10. But the NCAA has shifted so much, and it's time for us to take a fresh look at our options and study the pros and cons. And the Jesuit vernacular, we call it a discernment. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. And part of a discernment is to try to go into these conversations with an air of ambivalence. Let me try to make a decision based on what is best for the greater good. Not me, not one coach, not one team, not one alumni group, but the entire community. It's hard.
And you've hosted a lot of open forums which allow the community to speak and really anybody to listen and hear what's going on and to give their thoughts. The open forum is a kind and welcoming opportunity that not everybody would allow, right? They make a decision behind closed doors and say, this is what we think, and we go. That's not what LeMoyne is doing. You want to hear from everyone, and in hearing from everyone, you're going to hear different ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
So how have the forums gone?
They've gone well. They've gone from exhilaration that we're exploring it, and then the other end of this spectrum is great concern. How will this decision impact the nature of our community and what we do here? And you know, you raised an important point about engaging the community. We don't make decisions of consequence in isolation. That doesn't work for us in our culture, in our community. We need everyone to understand the opportunities ahead, the challenges ahead, the risks of the status quo. All of these things need to be taken into consideration so that we can weigh our options collectively as a community, because at the end of the day, Dan, we all own this decision, not just one person or our board of trustees. Everyone has to understand why we're making this move and what are the implications for the college writ large.
So we get closer and closer to a decision coming. The discernment process has left a very large binder of information. So how do you feel about where LeMoyne is at right now as far as getting to a decision that you feel confident with?
We still have a few open forums to host. In fact, we have another one today. And we have another open forum with the parents of current student athletes yet to go. We have more alumni to engage. So the jury is still out. I will say that based on what we know at this particular moment, I think we've pivoted toward a moving toward, if we get a bid, to strongly consider it, but I don't want to preempt all of the consultations and have people mad at me when in reality we really haven't made a decision yet. But from what I'm hearing, people think it's a good and prudent risk to take, and that's how I'm characterizing this. There are unknowns, right? We understand the costs, the revenue assumptions, like in any kind of business in higher education, they're harder to quantify. Yeah. So there's an element of unknown that makes it a little bit anxiety producing.
How have you enjoyed and been challenged by the process?
I love it. I love it. As my 95-year-old mom likes to say to me, Linda, if it's easy, anybody could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the leadership calculus, is working with people with disparate views and then trying to galvanize around or coalesce around a shared vision. That's the essence of what leaders do. We don't just dictate, we will do this or that. No, anybody can do that. The real challenge is coming together as a community, as you indicated, and then sharing how we came to the decision with our students so they learn how to make good decisions of consequence. It's not just about this decision, it's about the process and the learning that occurs as you gather more and more data to help you refine and make the best decision for your college. Those exact principles also translate to 18 to 21-year-olds as well, and that's an important part of the process.
LeMoyne, it's not the first time LeMoyne has looked at reclassification.
So true.
So why does this one feel so different?
This one feels different for two primary reasons. We did not ask the NCAA to essentially implode. That would then, create this cascading effect of schools moving up and around to different conferences. Okay, we did not ask for this. We need to take a look at the lay of the land. How does it impact our school? Yeah. Every school, Division 1, 2, and 3, that has an athletics program of any kind is being impacted, right? It's not just Division 1, that's a misnomer. We're all affected by these changes in the NCAA. The other reason that this feels different, Dan, is that the NE10, we don't fit as well as we used to in the NE10 because of so much movement. Some of the schools that we looked like have already opted to move to Division 1. And as a result of that, we want to make sure that the schools with whom we compete look like us in terms of academic metrics, the size of endowment, the kind of teams that we sponsor. Because of that fact, I should say those facts, it just seems like a propitious time to say, we better take stock of where we are, Dan, and where we want to be in the next 5, 10 years.
Leadership. It's an interesting thing to take upon you. Whatever you are called, whatever that, CEO, COO, president, GM, whatever the title, head coach, whatever that may be, to have a leadership role in today's ever-changing society that sometimes you wake up and you're like, wait, I thought it was like this yesterday. So when you're challenged in this world where things change sometimes in an instant,
That's right.
How have you as a leader learned to become somewhat of a chameleon to say, I'm going to keep my values, but I'm also going to be able to adjust? How do you balance being a leader that can change with time, but also keep who you are and the fiber of your being?
Lots of reflection. That's an amazing question, and leaders deal with that scenario every single day. Leadership is a lesson in humility. Mm-hmm. It really is that simple. Are you willing to surround yourself with people who are going to disagree with you, who are willing to offer disparate views, who have competing interests? Again, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. What is best for the institution that I've been charged with in terms of stewardship? My personal opinion is really irrelevant in all of this, and frankly, Dan, to be honest, I often found Division III compelling. I like that model, but it doesn't work for this college. Maybe it would have 10 or 15 years ago, but that's not the case anymore. We've changed, the NCAA has changed, and I would be disingenuous if I didn't, admit that. There are times when I said, I wish this came to happen on the next president's watch, okay? Because it's that complicated, and it really, something about athletics that makes emotions come to the top of the heap. But, this is the moment in time where we need to make the decision, and we're excited about making a decision. We know we're not going to please everyone. We're sure of it. The open forums have made that clear. Some people are going to be incredibly excited, others disappointed, and others still I'm not sure, but I'm not, I'll go with the flow, but I'm still not sure.
Yeah, and you said a big part of leadership is the fact that you have to know, and in life in general, you can't please everyone. And if you try to please everyone, you're always going to be left, because the people you pleased Monday, you didn't please on Tuesday.
Amen.
So when you're going through this process and you're making a decision based in knowledge, based in wisdom, based in time, based in reflection and humbling yourself, how do you come to terms with the fact of standing in a room saying, I know these people are with me, I know these people are not, and I know these people are somewhere in between?
You need to have a real resilience and an understanding that pleasing everyone is impossible, and a thick skin. And also, faith in the goodwill of people, even with those whom you disagree, may ultimately come to your way of thinking on this particular topic. And if not, can we still disagree without being disagreeable?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what you're looking for, a sense of collegiality and goodwill and good faith, that we're all trying to steward the institution in the best way possible. In light of that, Dan, how is it possible that everyone is going to agree?
Yeah.
Everyone has a sense of what they think is the best.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the wisdom from all corners of the campus, but also from alumni, and trying to come to a good decision with the stakeholders on the committees that are looking at this. So I'm not making this decision in isolation. And in fact, ultimately, my recommendation will go to the trustees.
Yeah. How have you been challenged in this process personally?
I'm not crazy about the idea that some of our coaches in particular are very, very nervous about it. I like to find joy in the challenges, and not everyone is wired like me, and I have to remember that.
Yeah.
Not everyone is comfortable with change.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I am. I enjoy it. Things that represent the status quo for me, that produces anxiety, and we're all different. So
Yeah.
I have to keep listening, understand the concerns, and do my very best to address them.
Coming from the president of LeMoyne College, Dr. LeMura. So on other notes, it's an adventure to get to your office. And so keeping with the adventurous model that we've used in today's broadcast of Dolphin Dive on WakeUpCall with Dan Tortora, we've had the opportunity to see that there is a lot of change going on physically with LeMoyne College. And I love the fact, and I said this to you off the air, that you've had a playful approach to it with saying Dolphins need water and a sign being up there. So let everyone know who doesn't know what this construction is going to eventually bear.
Well, in terms of the front of the campus, this is the final phase of a complete rejuvenation of the entrance to the campus. So you'll know that you have arrived on the campus of LeMoyne College at the end of this project. The truth of the matter is, we had planned to make these significant investments before COVID and everything got upended.
Yeah.
So we're excited about this. It's a real serious investment in the look of the campus, the feel of the campus, and we're trying to send the message that when you arrive on campus, you're going to feel the LeMoyne community immediately, even before you meet anyone. And that's what we're trying to accomplish by removing all the cars from the quad and beautifying it with a sense of new trees and nature, and yeah, it'll be very, very welcoming. The other major project is in Riley Hall, our workhorse academic building that has been deferred. We couldn't get to it during the pandemic, and that has been, there's a renaissance in that building that's stunning. So we're sending the signal, listen, we wanted to invest before, we couldn't because of COVID, and we're coming out strong. We want you all to know that we've hit the ground running. The college is incredibly strong and aspirational, and we're looking forward in terms of beautiful new campus, potentially a move with athletics, new faculty members and staff that have joined our community. We're excited to be back together again, and pay attention, watch what's new and what's next.
And it's very exciting to see that, we're seeing physical change, we're seeing change in the background, and all these different pieces of it. it's funny how God works. As you spoke about, this was supposed to be done prior to COVID. COVID happens, and we have to go through this process, and certain things are available, materials, and some aren't. So, but the funny thing about the fact of a potential move for athletics, while you're upgrading what we're seeing on campus, and like you talked about Riley Hall and whatnot, everything that's happening is converging together so that when it's all done, we will see a new look Dolphin.
Amen.
So in God's own way, we think adversity, he thinks, no, I just wanted it all to happen together. So,
you know something, that's beautifully said. It's in some ways it's annoying, right, that you have all this disruption on your campus and you're forced to make decisions that you didn't ask for. On the other hand, the opportunities are immense and exciting, and I don't see these things as adversity. Certainly the pandemic I did, but the fact that everything is coalescing at the same time, I see it as a gift. It's an unwrapping the beauty of this campus, if you will, and the wonderful people that occupy it. I think we're unbelievably fortunate knowing how difficult higher education is these days, and we're a shining star, and I'm proud of it.
we've heard, you know, through the grapevine of this country that there was going to be a dip and a lull in students coming into school. How are you trying to positively go toward that and to make sure that LeMoyne doesn't feel that as much? I mean, what are you doing to make sure that, hey, if the country goes through this and the valley goes here, that we don't go down to that valley with them? What adjustments do you have to make?
Lots of adjustments, and we make them again in community and discernment processes so that everyone understands the challenges and what we need to do to address them. A central challenge, of course, is to keep adding academic programs as markets continue to evolve, as the needs of our region and our country evolve. That's one way to address it. Another is to expand our footprint into markets that we haven't tested for either a long time or never have. And to be honest with you, Dan, athletics gives us such an opportunity with an entirely new footprint in areas where there is density in terms of population, as opposed to where we are now, where it's very difficult in New England with regard to the number of 17-year-olds.
Yeah, you know, and seeing where we head now, I mean, we've gotten to talk about a lot of different things, and you brought up faith. It's imperative to me. I tell people all the time, I know people listen and watch the show have all different faiths, some don't have one, and we welcome everyone, and in this spirit of welcoming, I always tell people, hey, if I welcome you, then welcome the fact that I have a very strong faith, that I don't push upon you, it's just me. I don't know how I could have done anything in 36 years without God. I don't understand how I could have made any decisions, had any discernment, had any clarity. And, you know, we were talking off the air, I took a trip, and it was work related and personal, and I took this trip and it was time for me to just be silent. And the funny thing about God is I found my silent moment of a return to grace of being myself, standing in Disney World at Epcot with people all around me. I found my peace in what some people would call chaos, but it's one of the places where I go to remind myself who I am. I'm a big kid, to have that innocence. And I remember standing at Epcot, holding onto my backpack and looking, and I'm a big guy. I was about to go on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. I had baby Groot on my shoulder, and I just kind of looked up at the sky and I went, I'm coming back, like I'm getting back. So what can you say to faith and how it moves you and how it can take you in a place of chaos for most people, and God can go, hey, I got you.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, it's no secret on this campus that I'm a person of faith.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily wear that on my sleeve, but it's obvious through the course of an academic year, people, and the things that I say, people are usually pretty sure that I'm a person of faith.
Yeah.
At the same time, I work and live on a campus where the intellectual life is front and center. And what I try to do in my daily work is to demonstrate the compatibility of the intellectual life, the life of the mind, and the life of the heart and the soul. And it works for me. And I have to add, with regard to your comments about silence and reflection, That's an integral part of the Jesuit charism, is silence in terms of retreats and reflection, so that you're not distracted by, you know, the movements of the day, and you allow a space for God to have conversation with you. And sometimes those conversations aren't even that obvious. They may emerge after a silent retreat, but it's a way of refocusing in our faith tradition. Some people might call it something else, you know, meditating, but it's so important. And to tell you the truth, Dan, this job is stressful. I'm not complaining about it. I love it. I actually can groove on stress every once in a while, but also you need time to settle in so you can make really, really good, important decisions for the institution. And if you don't get your wits about you and reflect on things and seek some calmness and peace in your life, you're really not being the best steward for the institution that you could be.
And you said, you know, this obviously is stressful, you know, to be the figurehead, to have the word president attached to your name, because like you said, there's a board of trustees, there's different people involved.
Sure.
But they look to you as the leader, right? If there was a state of the Dolphin address, that's you. So in the years that you have held this job and held it so well and have made history in the job as a lay person, to have this as a woman, to do this, to be a president of a Jesuit institution, and to do it in such a way of breaking ground and making history with it, how do you feel the weight upon your shoulders, and how do you alleviate the stress of the weight?
Oh, I feel the weight of the position every day, and one of the ways that I deal with it is by being around the students. They bring me unbridled joy. I'm astounded by young people, their own resilience and their sense of joy and playfulness. That's what keeps me going. But in addition, you know, I have a faith life. I also exercise. That helps to mitigate a lot of the stress, and you know, a wonderful family. I'm blessed with a wonderful family, so I have, you know, pockets of inspiration and consolation every single day that allows me to stay focused, but also grounded, right? I don't need to feel like I can solve every problem, because I can't. And also, that's what we have God for.
Yeah.
I'm not God. I'm not all omnipotent or omniscient, and I need to rely on others and a spiritual life in order to help the institution and help myself and my family as well.
Some people worry about the future of this country, and they say, look at the youth. You said the opposite. You said the youth invigorates you. What can you say about your faith in the future of this country?
I have tremendous faith in this particular generation. I know that, you know, I've heard ways of describing this young generation as highly needy, and you know, they're not as focused. And you know, my answer is, look, this generation has been through a lot more than we experienced when we were young people, in terms of a pandemic, you know, rabid polarization politically in the country, and they're trying to make sense of it all. We're the kind of institution that can help them make sense of it all through the kind of curriculum that we offer here, and the help of our Jesuit community, the alumni community. I think this generation coming through will make good decisions, and they'll always have the greater good in mind. They're concerned about the welfare of people who don't have enough resources, about the climate. I mean, these are really good and compelling things, and they're interested in transparency and information. I find that optimistic. They want to be a part of the process. They don't want to just hand over the keys to someone and say, okay, what do we need to do next? That's not America, and that's not democracy. So it'll be bumpy, like it is with every generation. We seem to forget that.
Yeah.
But these young people are hopeful, and that gives me hope.
Dr. Linda LeMura, the president of LeMoyne College. Before we get to our final piece of rapid fire, the final note here, LeMoyne College is special because blank.
We're special because we are a wonderful learning community. And the emphasis is on the word community. We're very spirited. We love what we do. We love students. We love to challenge them. But the flip side is we love to nurture them too. And that is the secret sauce to our success. And that's why generation after generation of families keep sending their children here. That's a really good sign. And we're very welcoming. I guess I gave you more than one word, but that's one of my things I need to work on.
No, be who you are. I like the fact that you're not a short, and that's it.
No
I like
danger.
that you actually give your feelings on it. So with that being said, here inside of this edition of Dolphin Dive, we are going to play rapid fire. And I am going to put myself on the hot seat. I'm not going to put Linda on the hot seat because she's answered all these questions, and in this past year and these past few months, you've had enough of questions. you've had many questions in the forum. So I will put myself on the hot seat for a trio of questions, 3 questions here in this edition of Dolphin Dive, exclusive to our multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne, Dr. Linda LeMura, and myself, Dan Tortora, as well as you could call me DT. So with that being said, I'm on the hot seat for 3. I have no idea what Linda's going to ask me. Whenever you're ready.
Where do you think LeMoyne Athletics should reside?
Division I.
Tell us.
And I feel that way because I believe, in my conversations with Bob Beretta, the AD here, and talking about geographical sense, I've spent a lot of time with realignment on my show, as many of you know, and I did a show where I put a map out, and I physically showed where people were, and the SEC, as much as it expands, it's from Florida to Texas and up to Kentucky, and it's staying in the South. The Big Ten, outside of what they did in California, is a cloud right above them, and they're touching. And so everybody had left the West Coast open, so I had theories of what works in the Mountain West bounding with the pack and all these different things that could happen. And in talking with Bob about this and how it affects everybody, which is what he said and you've said, I look at certain conferences that have teams in the state of New York, on Long Island, in regions that make sense geographically for travel for LeMoyne. They also make sense in the sense of where your alumni may be, where pockets of finding people to support and be there may be, where a radius of games and travel and saving money as well as spending money in certain areas. There's a lot of things that make sense, and to me, LeMoyne, this is my experience with the school, is that whatever the highest level is, that's where I believe you belong, because I don't believe LeMoyne is, and it's nothing to Division I, 2, or 3, but I don't believe, if Division I is the highest you can go in the NCAA, I don't see LeMoyne as almost there. I see LeMoyne as there, and when Stonehill makes a move and Mary Mack had made a move, I look at these and I say to myself, okay, what is this Northeast 10 becoming? Is it really the Northeast? And you play in the Southwest Division, which makes no sense. And for me, as a geographical broadcaster, so when you look at all of that, and then you look at geographic rivalries and different games that would make a lot of sense and cause to have a very vibrant fan base on both sides, I see other conferences that make perfect sense, and honestly, I don't see how they can bring in the teams they brought in and not consider LeMoyne, because I think LeMoyne is a step above, and that's just my opinion.
Well, I appreciate that immensely, and might bring you to one of our forums.
Bring me in, Lynn. I'm ready. I'm used to people. I said, when you're out there and you're in the public eye, and the stand-up comedy that I'm working on, I was like, there are always hecklers. There's always going to be somebody out there. You have to be willing to stand up, make a joke about it, and move on.
Amen. Second question. If you had children, where would you send them to college?
Oh, that's a great question. So I hope one day to have children in this world. It's tough for me because my parents and I are 30 years apart, and I'm 36 and I'm going to be 37. So I, growing up, was like, oh, I want to have my first kid at 25. I want to have less distance between. And, to someone who really wants to be a dad, I'm so happy to be an uncle of, I think, 13 now. Thank you all. I love all my friends. I'm a godfather to Noah. And I I want to be a dad, I really genuinely want that, but in the right situation where love is there for the whole family with the right person and then they have children. If I had a choice, I would do what my parents did, and for the most part, and I would let them choose. My dad came here. My dad came to LeMoyne. I feel like a Dolphin from the moment that I started working here because I've just been welcomed in and been a whole lot of love and a lot of positivity. I went to Marywood, which is a Catholic institution that's 2 hours away. There's a lot of wonderful places, and LeMoyne has a special place in my heart, more so now than ever. I would want them to go somewhere where they feel right. I'm not going to be the dad to say you can't go this many hours away, or you can't go there, or you can't stay in the neighborhood. I want them to go somewhere where their faith can be practiced fully and they can feel welcome. I want them to go where their major is. I want them to go where they feel at home. And I want them to go in a place where they feel like my dad told me, I don't want you to go somewhere where you can have something that's already done and just keep it going. My son is the person who starts something from the ground up where there's craters. And so I want them to go somewhere where they really feel like they could build something and make their own mark, not for personal accolades, but because they know within themselves that they can make something better.
That's a beautiful answer. Oh my goodness, spot on. And hopefully within their discernment, LeMoyne rises to the top, but I get it, you want them to choose.
They'll definitely be coming on campus, I'll tell you that much. So.
Let's see, last question. Tell me about your view of Syracuse. What do you like about it, its strengths?
We are a very challenged bunch. I call it Santa's armpit, and
Wow.
and I do that as a joke because it snows a lot. But the reality of it all is, we get 4 seasons. The thing I love the most about Syracuse is the people. We fight, and we don't give up. We're blue collar. We are hungry. And being a business owner and doing what I do for a living, I've met so many business owners, and I refuse to work with businesses that aren't hands-on. That's from the colleges and universities to the restaurants to the car dealerships and whatnot. I work with people who work with their people. And I've weeded out all the people that don't. The absentee owners that come in, they check the till, they see how much money's in, they go home, they go on vacation. I love working with people who love their people, and through the pandemic, I've seen so many people that I work with in business keep their staff through a horrible time, and doing that, keeping your staff at all is commendable, but keeping your staff during a crisis, it says something about your character, it says something about who you are, it says something about what you stand for, and it's more than money. It's time, it's care, it's generosity, it's believability, it's being real with your people. And I just love that Syracuse, if you're good to them, they will eventually, no matter how grizzled they are, they'll break down their walls and shake it off and get that snow off and warm up. And I believe that here in Syracuse, anything can happen. I came back here to start my business, and we turned 10 years old on July 20th of this year, which is insane because I feel like a baby, and I feel like my company's a baby. But to be here in this community, it's where my grandparents felt like it was right to be. My parents stayed here, and I have the best of both worlds. I travel all over. I get to work with so many different places. Florida's a second home for me personally and for my company, and so I get to go to Disney, come back home. And I think one of the best ways of describing Syracuse is being in Florida for the week of broadcasts that we just did recently down there, and being in Orlando, going to Disney almost every day, seeing my friends, and it's like I came home, and on the plane I had this feeling when we were about to touch down, we were getting close to landing, and I was like, I'm back in my city. Like, I'm back with my people, and I get that chill, and still to this day, I get that chill and that fight of like, Macklemore said it in a song, I've got my city right behind me, if I fall, they got me. And I got them, I have you, I hope you have me, I believe you do. And I mean, I've met some of the most incredible, wonderful, faithful, kind people here. And, you know, if before I'm done with this world, God, I hope I make Syracuse a better place. And I really, really hope I make sure I let as many people as possible know that Central and Upstate New York is where God put some of the best of us. I'd probably say.
How about that? That's beautiful. I think you should be a spokesperson for the Chamber of Commerce.
Let's make it happen.
Oh my goodness, yeah, yeah. Together.
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 As always, Dr. Linda LeMura, I cannot thank you enough. I mean, this is Dolphin Dive, this is a special, but more than anything else, Linda, I don't know how many times a day your ears ring, but I talk about you very much around the country. I talk about you here in the community and around, and the words you've said to me, the positivity, the kindness, and how you have treated me in everything that I've done, I carry that with me because if it comes from you, you're in that Rolodex in my brain of those kind words that came from Linda. So not only were those kind, but they came from someone who I greatly feel it's not easy to get those words from. And so I thank you for that.
Thank you so much, and thank you for telling LeMoyne's story. You do it with such passion and compassion, and you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty and understand what makes this institution tick. And I'm deeply grateful for that because I think we have a pretty nice narrative.
Yeah.
Good story to tell.
Absolutely, and Dolphins always need to swim together. That's how it is. So,
Absolutely.
welcome back to everybody that's back on campus. Stay tuned for plenty more to come. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. is Dolphin Time. Every odd Wednesday, first and third is AD and DT. Every second and fourth is the Dolphin Dive. And for Dr. Linda LeMura and everyone here at LeMoyne, I want to thank you for being a great part of this community and for being proud to be a Dolphin. Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Me too. See you soon.